The morning started like every other, chaos disguised as family. Mom was pacing the kitchen, her slippers dragging against the floor, yelling into the phone about table linens for her Golden Girls engagement. My sister, Danielle, sat at the counter, face full of smug calm, scrolling through her phone like a queen awaiting her servant. I had my uniform laid out neatly on the couch, crisp black pants, a blue blouse, my name tag clipped to the edge. Today was my first day of orientation for the marketing firm I'd fought for months to get into. My chest felt light with something I hadn't felt in years, pride. But the moment Mom saw me adjusting my shirt in the reflection of the microwave, her tone dropped like a blade. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video? Where do you think you're going? I looked at her carefully. I told you, Mom. My job orientation is today. I start at 9. She narrowed her eyes. Danielle's dress is ready at the boutique. Go pick it up before her fitting at noon. I froze, thinking she was joking. Danielle didn't even look up. You can go later, Mom pressed. They'll understand. It's not like that job's going anywhere. I smiled stiffly. It's my first day, Mom. I can't just not show up. She slammed her coffee mug onto the counter. You think you're too good to help your sister? She's getting engaged. You're playing secretary. Danielle chuckled, eyes still on her screen. She acts like she's the CEO of something. That stung more than I wanted to admit. I'd spent nights building my portfolio, surviving rejection after rejection, and here they were, mocking the first real chance I'd ever earned. I'm not skipping orientation, I said quietly. You can pick it up yourselves. Mom's head turned slowly like a storm forming. What did you just say to me? I said no, Mom. The silence that followed was heavy, the kind that tastes like danger. Then she moved. Her hand came fast. The slap cracked through the kitchen. My cheek burned. Ungrateful brat, she hissed. You think anyone else would put up with you under this roof? I stumbled back, one hand to my face. But she wasn't done. You do nothing but breathe and complain. Danielle's building a real life. You're just wasting oxygen. Danielle smirked. Mom, she'll be late for her imaginary job. That laugh, that cruel, careless laugh, something in me broke. I've worked for everything I have, I said, voice shaking. You've never believed in me, but I'm not staying here to be your punching bag anymore. Before I could turn away, Mom shoved me hard. Her nails dug into my arm as she dragged me toward the front door. Then leave, she spat. Go build your life somewhere else. Don't come back when you fail. The door slammed behind me. It was barely 7 a.m. The sky was pale and damp. I stood on the front steps with my small backpack, my resume, my wallet, and the bruises I didn't deserve. My knees trembled, but I didn't cry. I walked, mile after mile, until the bus station came into view. I caught my reflection in the glass door, hair messy, cheek red, eyes swollen but alive. I made it to orientation with 5 minutes to spare. The manager noticed the bruise but said nothing. He just looked at me like he saw through the pain. I learned about teamwork, goals, vision, all the words my house had never known. When lunch came, I sat alone, scrolling through messages from Danielle and Mom. Mom, you're ruining this family. Danielle, good luck with your fake little job, loser. I blocked them both. That night, when I returned to my cheap motel room, I ordered takeout with my first orientation stipend. The noodles tasted like freedom. I didn't know it yet, but that slap, that insult about wasting oxygen, would become the reason I learned how to breathe for real. The motel smelled like damp carpet and cheap air freshener, but that night it felt like peace, the first kind I'd had in years. I sat cross-legged on the bed, staring at the flickering lamp while the world outside buzzed. The silence wasn't empty. It was mine. For weeks, I lived like that. Every morning I caught the early bus, still wearing the same shoes that squeaked on tile floors. I learned how to make presentations, cold call clients, smile through rejection. Each day, I walked past the mirror by the elevator and whispered, "Don't go back." The company wasn't glamorous. My pay barely covered rent and food, but it gave me something no one ever had: dignity. I met coworkers who asked questions instead of giving orders. I laughed again, even if it was brief. Then, one afternoon, about a month in, my phone buzzed with an unfamiliar number. I shouldn't have answered, but I did. "Do you even care what you've done to this family?" Mom's voice poured through, acid-sweet and cruel. I felt the air leave my lungs. "What are you talking about?" "Your sister's engagement was ruined because of you. She had no one to run errands, no one to help her plan. Everyone asked where you were, and I had to tell them you chose some useless job instead of family." "You mean instead of being your servant?" I said. She scoffed. "You'll regret this attitude. Don't think we'll welcome you back when your little company realizes you're not worth keeping." Then she hung up. I stared at the silent screen until it went black. For a moment, the same old guilt tried to crawl in. Then I turned the phone off, set it down, and opened my laptop. I had slides to finish for a new client, a local bakery that wanted help building an online store. That job changed everything. I poured my energy into it, staying up until dawn, designing, researching, tweaking. When the client launched, they tripled their sales. My manager noticed. "You've got instincts," he said. "How would you feel about leading your own small team?" For the first time, someone believed I could lead. I accepted without hesitation. Months passed. I learned fast, faster than anyone expected. I rented a tiny apartment, painted the walls pale blue, and bought secondhand furniture. It wasn't much, but every piece was mine. But the universe has a cruel sense of timing. One night, around 8 months after I'd left, there was a knock at my door. I opened it to find Danielle, flawless as ever, except her eyes were puffy and rimmed with black mascara streaks. "Mom said you'd be here," she whispered. I crossed my arms. "What do you want?" "She's sick, stress or something. Dad says it's your fault." I laughed bitterly. "Of course he does." Danielle shifted uneasily. "She keeps talking about how you abandoned the family, how you should have been there to help. I told her you wouldn't care, but she—" "Stop," I cut in. "You didn't come here for her. You came because you want something." Her silence said everything. "I need help with rent," she finally murmured. "They said they can't afford to help me this month. I thought maybe, since you're doing okay—" I stared at her, remembering every cruel smirk, every time she mocked my dreams, every moment I swallowed pain just to stay part of the family. "No," I said simply. Her lips parted. "You can't be serious. You're really going to let me struggle?" "You all watched me get kicked out," I said softly. "You watched Mom hit me. None of you stopped her. Struggle builds character, right? Isn't that what she told me?" Her face crumpled. "You've changed." Finally. I closed the door. That night, I didn't sleep. Part of me still hated that it felt good to say no. But it did. For the first time, my pain wasn't currency for their comfort. The next morning, I poured everything into work. Within a year, my small team became a division. I wasn't rich, but I had influence. I started mentoring interns, girls who reminded me of myself, timid and full of potential. And still, I never once called home. Then, 3 years later, life circled back. I was presenting a campaign at a regional conference when a familiar voice broke through the crowd. "Lauren?" I turned. My parents stood near the exit. Mom looked smaller, her face lined, eyes dull. Dad had that same disdainful expression, but beneath it I saw something new. Desperation. "We need to talk," Mom said. I hesitated. Every memory crashed back at once. The slap, the shove, her words about wasted oxygen. I should have walked away. But I didn't. Outside, rain streaked the windows. Mom fumbled with her purse. "We lost the house," she said finally. "Danielle's marriage fell apart. We don't have anywhere to go." Dad stepped forward. "You're successful now. You could help your parents?" I stared at them, both waiting, both pretending they hadn't destroyed me to get here. "Do you remember what you said the day you kicked me out?" I asked quietly. Mom's lips trembled. I was angry. "You said Danielle was building a future and I was wasting oxygen. Well, I built mine without you, and I'm still breathing." Her eyes filled, but I didn't flinch. I turned and walked back toward the lights of the conference hall, the sound of applause echoing behind me. I didn't owe them my air anymore. I thought that walking away from them at that conference would be the end. But karma has a strange way of circling back. Not with grand explosions, but with quiet, brutal precision. A few months later, I got a call from a former coworker who still lived in my hometown. "Hey, I don't know if you've heard," she said, her voice cautious, "but your parents are not doing great. They're living in one of those rundown motels off the highway, the one near the gas station." I didn't respond right away. The image came to me uninvited. The same mother who used to slap me for breathing too loudly, the same father who used to bark that I'd never make it past a receptionist's desk, now reduced to a peeling, damp motel room. For a while, I didn't feel anything. Then something unexpected hit me. Not pity, not satisfaction, just a strange kind of peace. A week later, I drove down there. The motel parking lot was cracked, puddles reflecting neon signs. My car headlights caught two familiar figures sitting on the curb. Mom had a blanket around her shoulders. Dad's hair was completely gray now. When they saw me step out, their eyes widened with disbelief. Mom stood first. "Lauren?" Her voice was weak, almost trembling. "You actually came." I didn't say anything. I looked at them both, at the people who had once made me feel smaller than dirt, now looking like ghosts of their former selves. "We need help," Dad muttered finally. "The bank took everything. Danielle doesn't talk to us anymore." I wanted to laugh, not because it was funny, but because life had finally come full circle. The same people who called me useless were now standing on the same ground I once slept on after being kicked out. Mom reached for me. "I was wrong, okay? You proved yourself. You're strong. We're proud of you." Her words were desperate, hollow, the kind people use when they want survival, not forgiveness. "Proud?" I said softly. "You hit me for choosing my job over your errands. You kicked me out because I wouldn't pick up a dress. You watched me cry on the sidewalk and said I didn't deserve to breathe. Now you want to stand under the same roof as me?" She started crying. "Please, Lauren, we have nowhere else to go, just until we get back on our feet." I took a deep breath. For a second, the old version of me, the one who begged for approval, almost stepped forward, but she was gone. "I don't think you understand," I said, voice calm. "You burned that bridge when you slammed the door in my face. I built a new one, but it's not for you." Dad's jaw tightened. "You can't just turn your back on your family. You did it first." The rain started to fall, light at first, then heavier. Mom pulled the blanket tighter around herself, whispering, "I just wanted what was best for Danielle." "And you lost both of us in the process," I said. I turned and started walking back to my car. I could feel their eyes on me the way they used to when I'd leave for work. Except this time, I wasn't coming back ashamed. When I reached the driver's door, Mom called out, "Wait!" I looked over my shoulder. She was sobbing, her voice shaking. "You really can't forgive us?" I paused, thinking carefully. The wind whipped her hair across her face, and for a moment I saw the woman who had once braided mine before school, before everything rotted. "I forgave you a long time ago," I said quietly. "But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean reopening the door you slammed shut." Then I got into the car and drove off. Through the rain-smeared windshield, the motel sign blurred into streaks of red and blue. My heart didn't race, my hands didn't shake. I wasn't angry anymore. I was done. Months later, I heard that Mom and Dad had moved into a shelter program that helped displaced seniors. The irony wasn't lost on me. Strangers had done for them what they never did for their own daughter. Meanwhile, I kept building. My company grew from a few clients to a firm with its own floor downtown. People I once envied now worked under me. I hired young women who came from broken homes and told them the truth. You don't need anyone's permission to start over. One afternoon, as I walked through the glass lobby, my reflection stared back. Strong posture, confident stride, no trace of that trembling girl who once begged to be seen. I realized that my revenge had never been about destruction. It was about survival. about proving that their cruelty wasn't prophecy. It was fuel. And when I reached my office door, I saw the quote I'd framed months ago. "You're wasting oxygen." It hung there, crooked but powerful, a relic of everything they'd tried to bury me with. Now it made me smile, because I was still breathing, freely, fiercely, and without them. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video.